I've gotten multiple YouTube channels to 100,000 subscribers within a month, but the story of the channel I'm going to tell you today isn't because it's the most impressive, made the most revenue, or even cracked the YouTube algorithm. It's simply got a story that resonates with me, and I can guarantee you'll learn something new from it. I'm not selling you a course, I'm not censoring anything. This is the first non-bullshit video you're going to watch on YouTube. But to understand how the channel even started, we need to go back to April 14th, 2024. I joined a call with my friend Ben Carr, who's going to play a huge part in this story. This was during the time I was obsessed with YouTube Shorts. I was collecting more plaques than ever and blowing up channels left and right. We were both really interested in starting a channel together and already had a rough idea of a Geometry Dash channel, since Ben had thousands of hours in the game, knows about the history, and I just simply enjoyed the content around it. The plan was that we'd make a channel by putting our skills together, and we ended up coming up with a name called Hibbladu. It was going to be a completely unserious channel doing brain rot shorts content. We talked about it for a while but never actually started it, apart from making one short which was a complete pain. Not only was it going to be completely unfulfilling within a few weeks, there was already thousands of channels doing the same thing, meaning it would be impossible to stand out within the crowd. And looking back, I'm glad we hesitated, because the next call we had completely shifted the direction for the better. 4 months later, Ben and I were on a call once again after failing with a completely different channel we were going to do. I brought up the idea of a Geometry Dash channel once again and said I was inspired by channels like Gabe Sweats and Slam Dunk. These are both super successful old school channels that simply had great informational shorts, like Gabe's most viewed video being about the smartest person ever with over 30 million views, where it's simply finding the person with the highest IQ in history. And surprisingly, we both seemed to really like this idea of Geometry Dash content that actually had depth. And not to mention, literally nobody was doing this. And seeing that long form videos on similar topics did really well, I was honestly really surprised and thought this channel had potential. In fact, after I left the call, I messaged Ben saying, I actually really have hope in this GD channel. We decided to call it Secret Way. For once, it didn't feel like we were just starting something for the sake of it. And after a couple of days to think about it, I came back to Ben with a Google document where we'd plan ideation for the channel. September 1st, 2024 was officially the first day of the channel. 0 views, 0 subscribers. The first video went live titled The First Geometry Dash Player. It was nothing crazy, and I didn't expect the channel to pick up for at least another couple of weeks. You see, there's a thing with YouTube Shorts that still happens today, just with a different view count. You might have noticed this yourself, but when you post a YouTube Short, it would fly to around 10 to 20,000 views and then flatline. These days, it's closer to 30 to 40,000 as YouTube counts every impression and not just the views like they did back in the day. I already had experience with channels doing this within the first 10 shorts until they break out, and on the second day, that's exactly what happened with the first one. It flew to 10,000 views and flatlined, which is actually a pretty good sign. But after posting a couple more shorts, something interesting happened. It hovered around the view trap for only a couple hours before breaking out over the next couple days. Within 3 days, we completely escaped YouTube's view trap, and that's when we knew we had something truly special on our hands. By the second day, we were at 29 subscribers. By September 3rd, we were at 61 subscribers with only 6 shorts, and the next day we hit 100 subscribers within only 4 days. On September 6th, just 6 days in, the channel was at 720 subscribers with 400,000 views, and the day after, we hit 1,000 subscribers after posting 50 shorts in the first week. The first short on the channel, which usually doesn't do the best, was carrying the real time and is still the most viewed short today with over 10 million views. At this point, we were in a flow state. Every day after school, I'd call Ben and would sit there for hours. He would script the videos, I would edit them, and would post. There was no overthinking with the videos, no brand positioning, and monetization wasn't even in the picture at this time. It was complete, pure flow state. Exactly 30 days from starting, the channel was finally monetized. On the first day, it made $20, but since YouTube was just catching up, only 2 days later, it was making $70 a day. October was the first full month of revenue where we made $1,500, bringing the channel's total to $1,527. Keep in mind, the channel started only 60 days ago, and that's from completely nothing. All it took was finding the perfect content gap and not overcommitting with something we weren't 100% sure about. In November, the revenue was even higher, $1,700, bringing the total to 3.2k in only 3 months. This is also the month we posted our first long form video titled The Cycle of Geometry Dash. It was our first attempt at a documentary video, which ended up taking longer than expected and was honestly a grueling process. I edited almost the entire thing myself, and it was nothing crazy, but definitely a step towards something bigger. Today, it sits at nice 120,000 views and around $300 generated. In December, we experimented even more with the longest verifications in Geometry Dash, sitting at 250,000 views and nearly $900 generated, with the final video we made for a while being the Geometry Dash player that nearly died. This video is sitting at nearly 500,000 views and generated over $1,000, and weirdly, it quietly foreshadowed what was to come next for the channel, a format that would later change everything. As we made our way into 2025, the first quarter was honestly strange. The views and the revenue were completely linear, with only a couple dollars between each month's revenue. It was honestly impressive how steady and consistent the channel was, but it wouldn't be for long. That was around the time I was in the middle of moving out, meaning the workload shifted more into Ben and the momentum slowed down. Views were dipping, and it was clear this channel can't be a solo operation. The reason we started this channel became blurred with the expectation to maintain views and a consistent upload schedule, which for two people who have a real life to deal with was not really possible. It seemed like this channel would be under the gimmick that would slowly die off. Ideas weren't coming to us like they did back in the beginning, and with me being constantly on the move, I didn't even have any time to call Ben and reassure him that everything will be okay. This was until April 1st. By now, my new office was practically done, and I was getting back into the thick of it, when after returning to Secret Way, we decided to take a risk. As an April Fool's prank, we faked a live stream where I supposedly passed out from an insane heart rate while playing a Geometry Dash level. The stream didn't get that much attention, and since we didn't even have a short for that day, we clipped it into one, and you already know where this is going. It exploded. I don't get this shit. Ideas started flowing in, and we made even more shorts about high and low heart rates in Geometry Dash that all bang, reaching a peak view count of 2.6 million views that day. This also pushed us even closer to 100,000 subscribers, as after the heart rate stuff died out, we were around 80k and had already solidified ourselves in the community for our style of content. For the first time since starting, it felt like we were unstoppable. April through to May, we experimented with a new style of long form videos where we would showcase levels. This was already a popular style of content, so we knew it was completely possible. However, since most levels in Geometry Dash are copyrighted because of the music, getting around it was honestly a pain, and we only managed to get 3 showcase videos out. The first one sitting at 300,000 views and $750 generated, the second one sitting at only $50,000 and $100, and finally the third sitting at only 80,000 views and $170 generated. It was clear this style wasn't going to get us far because of how long it took, so we decided to keep focusing on shorts, though it was still nice to have an extra consistent source of revenue from those videos. By the end of May, we were so close to 100,000 subscribers that instead of fighting for more virality, we made a call to action short. This was a collab with Royal Pair where Ben would play 10 seconds of Zodiac for every subscriber gained from that short. And honestly, it didn't do great, but the insane conversion rate made us fly to 100,000 subscribers, and we hit it on May 25th, 2025.
3,
Oh my god! Now there's 7 of you here!
After another couple months, we realized we were lacking in the long form department, until Ben came to me with an idea. He knows another creator called Takane doing short interviews with Geometry Dash players, and that's when something clicked. With Ben's deep knowledge of the game, and me having connections to basically everyone, we decided to give it a try. Worst case scenario, it would be a one-off interview. So we organized one with Zoink, the #1 Geometry Dash player, and on July 27th, 2025, we posted a 2.5 hour long video, which went completely atomic. Within a week, it hit 120,000 views, today sitting at nearly 300,000, generating us over $1,000. You may notice the RPM is horrible, and I'll explain why later. From August 2025 onwards, we locked in with interviews and even started implementing shorts covering major Geometry Dash events within minutes or hours of them happening. We built a system where Ben hosts and handles interviews, I handle thumbnails and direction, and a super talented editor called Ainaru who replicate the style perfectly would edit and post shorts. The channel stopped being a chaotic mess, and it finally had actual structure to it. In 2025, we generated $8,300 with long form videos alone, and $17.5 with shorts, bringing the total since the beginning to $32,531. As of today, February 12, 2026, our lifetime revenue is sitting at $37,641.10. Now, this may seem low, but shorts RPM, especially for gaming, is always going to be low. In fact, ours is only around 15 cents, when usually, even on some of my other channels, it's more like 30 or sometimes even 40 cents. And the long form RPM isn't any better. Usually for multi-hour long videos, you can see RPMs of $15 to $30 or even more, but for us, it would only ever peak at 4 to 5, which was a bummer and really limited the potential revenue. However, it didn't matter, as revenue was never really the main motivator, and pretty much never was. Since the beginning, Secret Way was a bonding experience between me and Ben. We always wanted to start a channel together and knew that the perfect niche would be Geometry Dash, as without a doubt, it's Ben's favorite game. So, putting our skills together with Ben and me with YouTube, I knew we could make something big out of it. This isn't even to mention that this channel has helped out in our lives more than anything. Today, we still put our heart and soul into the channel, but ideas aren't flowing like they did back in the beginning, since there's only so much history you can talk about. Now, the channel is more like a GD new shorts channel, which isn't entirely a bad thing since it's working really well, but it's not what it once was. All I know is when I stop and take a look back from where we started, the revenue means nothing, as the experience is worth more than anything that came out of this channel, and it's the only thing that will never be replaced.